Hey, we are back. How are you,
We are
Mike?
back. We are back. I'm doing well. How are you, Nick?
I'm doing good. It is what is it? 10:30 p.m. on a Friday night here in Mumbai, Bombay, and it's very hot. It's monsoon. It hasn't rained that much since I've been here. There've been some occasional showers, but I'm getting used to it. Um, it's saying we are having trouble on a destination. All right, so let's remove that. Give me 1 second here. Let me fix this problem, and let's remove that. Okay. So I just had to fix some back office stuff there. So
Yeah.
how are you? How's your week been?
It's been super busy. I feel like I usually get up around 4 a.m. and start working, and it takes me all the way to probably 10:30 at night. And I feel like I've still got 20 or 30 things that I still had to do. So it's awesome. There's never a dull day. I can tell you that much. Everything from like strategic planning to building things out to meetings and then just life. So it's never a dull day, but I love it. I love working. So
Yeah,
but it's good to see everybody. There's a lot of people coming in and a lot of familiar faces. So it's great to connect. I love Fridays. I love the download. It's different being on the back end now because now you kind of get to see what's in store and what we're releasing and kind of some of to be a part of the updates, which is great. So I'm always excited to deliver to the community what we're doing and the progress that we've made, and so I'm excited.
Yeah, and I see you online all the time. I see you saying GM at crazy hours. And one thing that has worked out really well for me is because I have such an irregular schedule back home. Traveling, makes no difference with the time zones and all that kind of stuff. It just works out. So yeah, it's been a busy week, and as we were saying last week, sometimes you take us, one step back to make two steps forward, and that's actually been the
Hmm.
case with a lot of the things. We are seeing good progress now on a number of things, and I'm happy to report on those. But
Yeah,
before we start today, we have a special guest.
we do.
So I'd like to bring on a special guest here so we can chat a little bit. So let us welcome to the stage Pam Voth. Pam, how are you?
I'm good, Nick. How are you? Thank you so much
I'm
for
doing
bringing
very,
me on board. And hi, Mike.
Hi, good
very
to see you.
well. So Pam is stepping into the role of creator lead. We've kind of redefined the role a little bit, focusing primarily on being a creator advocate. So I think it would be helpful for you, Pam, to tell the community a little bit about yourself. About your experience, and whatever else you want to share with us.
Yeah, for sure. I know a lot of creators in the space, and that's because I'm a creator myself. I'm a photographer, and I kind of got into NFTs back in early 2021, during Clubhouse days and listening to that. So I started selling my own photography as NFTs that year. Later that year, I took a position kind of in the similar role with another platform and really learned about onboarding artists to Web3, helping them make NFT sales, and kind of went from there. And I've been listening to these live streams literally every single week since about January. And so this is the first one I've got to attend in person, but some people might recognize me from the chat. I'm Pam Voth Photography in the chat sometimes. So yeah, really happy to be here. I'm happy to be on board and see what I can do to help creators through this process.
That's fantastic. Well, speaking of creators, what are your top three priorities for them?
Yeah. Well, coming on at this time, I recognize that there's a need to help smooth out the onboarding process. As everyone who's been paying attention knows, we have a little bit of a backlog of helping people get their work actually consigned and published. So I'm taking a look at that. The teams are working really hard to work through that backlog, and I'm going to see what I can do to help them there. I think that also getting a resource and some open communication so that creators know what the process is, what to do when they get here, why they should come here in the first place. I hope to do some X Spaces with you, Nick. Get some time on your calendar so we can be out there. But if you're not available, I'll be out there on X Spaces and be really an open resource for creators to help understand what they should be looking out for when they come here. And then other than that, my big goal is to help collectors find this space and start finding the art and start buying the art. So I know we have a community right here who is already on board, but there's a lot of more art appreciators and art collectors out there in the world that I'd like to make sure they find a pathway to Vitruveo and start buying art.
That's cool. So we'll expect to see more of you in Telegram and even on X if people want to give feedback about, creators want to give feedback about Vitruveo, you're the person they should
That's right.
Contact in Telegram, not DM, I might add. That's it.
Telegram will be the best place. Yeah. And we have a whole Dreamverse community set up there with different categories. There's already some existing FAQs that people can read and pinned messages. So there you go. That's where people should find us. So
great. Okay. So, you said you've been like listening in on the streams since January, and now you're like diving headlong into supporting creators, etc.
Yeah.
Why do you think creators should care about Vitruveo?
Well, what I saw myself and what I think is going to stand out to other creators is this opportunity to make income perpetually into the future, like setting up a regular like passive income stream based on what we're doing now here in the very early stages. And I love the post you put out the other day. You're like, okay, let me just clarify. Like we are like, has anyone ever witnessed the birth of a blockchain? That's kind of what is going on now. Like that's what was fascinating me. I thought, well, this is kind of a college course on how to launch a blockchain, listening to the live streams every week. But yeah, so we are building really fast. We are paying close attention. We want to build everything the right way, but it's not all ready yet. The pieces are all coming together. So if you have some patience and you have some, tolerance for, watching things evolve, then now's the perfect time to jump on board, because now's the time when you have the biggest opportunity to make this work that you're doing now last really long into the future in the form of the rebasing and the income sharing, revenue share that Vitruveo is setting up. So that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's great. In fact, that's something Mike and I talk about quite a bit, is about how creators should view Vitruveo and our messaging to them. It's really important. And I use in simplistic terms, don't judge us like an adult. We are a toddler, we're growing to do. I think, Mike, you articulate that quite well. Do you want to address that a little bit?
Which part?
How should creators sort of view Vitruveo and not think of it as come and sell right away?
Yeah, so the whole concept for creators right now is really to position your art as an investment. So you can easily come in and sell one piece of art and get a certain price for that art, and then cash out and then just repeat that process. Or you can represent some of your art on the system. People are purchasing it. Then you take those funds, the Vitruveo that you receive, or the Vitru that you receive, and you can stake it for Vibe. You can stake it in APR, which will be released pretty soon, and really hold on to that asset. And then what happens is, over time, as the price grows, as rebasing grows, that one-time sale that you made, actually, instead of getting, let's say, $150, you're actually getting the equivalent of $1,000, $2,000, $10,000 just from that one piece of art, through the accumulation of, all the different revenue streams that we have. So we're really trying to, that's the whole concept of Vitruveo, is to generate lifetime income from your artwork, and not just your artwork, but the whole ecosystem's artwork. That's the power of the Vibe token and what we're trying to do in terms of revenue share. So now is the time to be accumulating the coin and growing that, get as big of a bag as you possibly can and constantly reinvest. And then that way, as the revenue starts to come in, it's going to be happy times for everybody, I think. So, yeah.
Yeah. And as a team, our priorities are to help educate you better, especially new artists. We are going there is a lot to digest. We have changed the model significantly, and if you don't dive into the details, you'll miss out on a lot of nuances that are there. Things like licenses and metadata and things like that. And so we are committed to creating bite-sized chunks of information for you, whether that's videos or blog posts, things like that, to make it easier for you. But what Mike said is really, really important for creators to understand is you have, for the past 2 years or maybe 3 years more now, been on this sort of roller coaster where it's like a sale and then nothing while you chill and attend spaces, etc., and then maybe a sale and same, repeat, rinse and repeat. And that cycle's got to end. That's a terrible cycle for anybody, let alone creators, right? And what we want to do is change that, so you're focusing more on creating, and the monetization works out because we've got multiple avenues for you to monetize. But that's not going to happen overnight. We are building something. It's going to take a little bit of time. To use the cliche, Rome wasn't built in a day, right? It's going to take some time. But more importantly, we need to shift your thinking from a sale that you can cash out on to an investment, right? You need to be making an investment in yourself for the long-term sustainable income that we want to provide for you. But we can't do that alone. We have to work with you. You have to work with us on that. And that means being smart about it. Like right now, there is still Vibe available for you. It's going fast. I saw that it went down a couple thousand yesterday. So that is the most significant thing that you can ever have as an artist: the ability to have lifetime revenue sharing on an L1 protocol. That's unheard of, and you have that opportunity right now. So if you haven't taken up that opportunity, you should educate yourself about it and hop on that bandwagon, because it's going fast. We're going to announce a few things today that is going to deplete the Vibe. There's only 1 million, and we are about 600K in, I think, or 700K if you include the validators quota. And so it's going fast. Soon there will be none left. So I would strongly advise every artist who has a sale right now to go and stake it in Vibe. That is the single best way you can ensure that you have sustainable income in the future. All right. So Pam, we've got our work cut out for us. We have a huge team. I'm just kidding. It's the three of us. That's it. We are gonna work on building out this creator ecosystem. Thankfully, we have some help from great community members, and I'm grateful for their help. Expect to see more messaging to creators, more interaction with creators from us as we continue our journey. So Pam, thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you again on another of these live streams.
Okay, thank you.
Bye, Pam.
All right, with that, let's begin our download. All right, so this is the Vitruveo download, where we review the events of the past week and we tell you about what is coming up in the next week. This is season 4, episode 6. It is August 9th, 2024. I'm Nick Kalyani, founder and CEO, and with me is Mike Purdy, who is COO. And together we are going to lay out the details for you. So let's get started with our top news from last week, which was DevOps. So we introduced a new RPC architecture to stabilize things, and I'm very pleased to report that the load balanced RPC is performing quite well. We have some issues, or had some issues rather, with individual apps, but that's really about the tuning of those apps. But overall, we have stability. Now, we are seeing an increased number of bots, and actually, they are bad bots. They are poorly programmed. And so we are in the process of deploying countermeasures for them. So basically what that means is each time a bot exceeds the rate limit, we'll have the load balancer update a counter in a special smart contract we're going to set up called bad actors. And what happens is when that bad actor counter exceeds the permissible thresholds, the wallet from that bot is added to a deny list and then blocked on all our services. And we want to make sure that we understand that people will move funds around among bots, etc., to circumvent issues, etc. So we will also ensure that all first level connecting wallets to those bots are blocked. So if you are sending funds to a bot, then that wallet, the sending wallet, will also be blocked. And when you are receiving funds from a bot, that receiving wallet will also be blocked. And right now we are keeping it to first level, but we might move it to second level depending on what's there. The easiest way to circumvent all these problems and to avoid them is to create a well-designed, well-coded, good bot which respects the rate limits. It's really simple to do that if you have a competent developer on your team, and that's what you got to do. The alternative is don't use our services, spin up your own node, spin up your own RPC, and then it's not a problem. We do not want poorly coded bots affecting the services for everybody else, and so it's important for us to block them. So that's where we are on bots, and we'll continue to monitor and develop additional countermeasures as needed. Okay, next up we have validators. We had a deadline which was August 1, where basically it was a finalization deadline for validators, and I'm pleased to report that the final count of validators for Vitruveo will be 388. So there is some housekeeping to be done there, and we'll get on that this weekend and the next and wrap things up. But the next big activity for the validators is our protocol update, which we had committed to doing in August. So we are on track for that. That protocol update will bring rebasing, a reset on the threshold, the transaction threshold needed for rebasing. So we'll reset the counter at 10,000. And as you can see from the traffic, we're hovering around 5-6K on some days. So I think the 10K is really quite achievable, especially as we roll out some of the cool new services we have in the works. So that is coming up, and that is it for validators. Okay, what is next? Next up, let's talk about Vibe. I know that is a favorite topic of Mike and I to discuss. We spend a lot of time talking about Vibe, and Vibe staking is a big deal. And I'm very happy to report that we are on track for the airdrops staking. So the airdrop staking updates have already made to scope. I'm going to demo that in a second. And we are going to allow partial unstake. So that was something that we had said would be very difficult to do, but we are able to do that. It's going to be in multiples of 150, which is what is needed to stake for a Vibe. And this will be active tomorrow at 10 a.m. PST. So that's August 10th, 10 a.m. PST, 5 p.m. UTC. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So I'm going to switch over to scope here, and let's look at our numbers for the staking so far. So that's what's these are the numbers here. So we have 39K remaining of the 350K original, and as you'll see here, we now have a third column on the right-hand side. So that's for the stake Vitru. It is not yet active. It will be active at 10 a.m. tomorrow. So right now it's just a form on the page. It doesn't do anything. But the other two columns work fine. So what you're going to do is tomorrow, starting at 10 o'clock, the balance here will show up. So it will reflect your stake balance that is in the airdrop stake contract. And you can allocate your staked Vitru at 150 per Vibe for 5, 4, or 3 years. And when you hit go, it's going to move those from the airdrop stake into the Vibe stake, and it's going to airdrop the Vibe to you. So, Mike, do you have anything you want to add to that about the airdrop staking, or any comments at all on Vibe staking in general?
No, I'm just glad it's here. I know everybody's been really excited about this, and I get pinged on it almost daily. So we're just excited to get it released. And then we can move on to future APR staking programs. We can, focus on Vortex. We can really kind of start moving on. I know there's some additional housekeeping stuff that we got to do with other, airdrops and stuff like that. But I'll show you. I'm sure you're going to touch on that today. But I'm super excited that this is finally here.
Yeah, and so in anticipation of this, getting this ready, shortly after this this live stream is done, we're gonna lock the staking contract. So you will not be able to do anything more on that. And the reason we have to lock it is because we have to literally export all the data out into a new contract, bring that up, and allow this capability to occur. So expect, if you need to unstake or do anything, do it now while we are still on the air, because after that, all bets are off. That contract is going to go into lock mode. All right. Okay. Now, Mike and I were talking about staking and about our priorities, and we made it pretty clear that nurturing the health and making sure that the Vitru coin is successful on the DEX is really important to us. Why? Because as we move on to the centralized exchanges, the performance on the DEX is going to be really, really important. And so I'm very, very excited here to reveal to you, announce for you a new benefit we have, a new reward we have for the DEX, and that's related to Vibe. The way it works is we are going to reward everyone who is buying or providing liquidity for the wrap Vitru and the Vitro USDC.pol pairs on our DEX. So let's start off with looking at what happens for buys. So every buy of $10 or more, so you don't have to do individual buys of $10. You can do one buy of any amount, but we divide it up into $10 segments. And we have a very simple formula. Your buys minus double your sells. So we are basically saying we want to discourage sells. That's what this formula says, right? You divide by 10 and you get that many Vibe airdrop to you at the end of the week. So as in my example here, let's say you do a $70 buy and you do a $20 in sells. So that would be 70 minus 40. That's 30. And that's 30 divided by 10, which will give you 3 Vibe. So we will reward all your buys on the DEX. The next thing we want to do is encourage liquidity. So every liquidity amount added of $100 or more will be airdropped Vibe at a 1.5x rate over the buy rate. So the formula is pretty much the same. You provide liquidity, we subtract the sells from it, and we multiply by 1.5 and then divide by 10, and that gives us how many Vibe you're eligible for. So let's say you provide $500 in liquidity. So in the example there, that will give you 75 Vibe. Now, it's important that the liquidity is there for 1 week. So for liquidity, the airdrop would be in the following week. It wouldn't be that week. It has to wait. You have to wait for 7 days before that liquidity counts for a Vibe airdrop. So we are basically allocating 20,000 Vibe for this. So these are airdrops will continue, and this benefit will continue until we hit that 20K margin. And yeah, that's the new program. We'll certainly write this up in more detail and share in Discord, so we have clarity on any nuances that are there. Mike, do you have any comments on this?
No, I think it's awesome. Yeah, we definitely want to encourage. We want to build the liquidity. A lot of people have been saying that liquidity is thin, and the circuit breaker is a great concept, but we want to get to the point where we don't need the circuit breaker, where that way we can increase volume. The volume is really what's going to really help us with the SEX listing. So we're trying to increase volume, provide more liquidity, and reward people with lifetime sharing. So it's kind of a real easy way for us to grow the DEX volume in a very simple way, and still capitalize on getting some vibe, while there's still supply. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and this vibe does come from the treasury, so it doesn't impact anyone else's allocation at all. All right, moving on to tokens. So we have one token airdrop pending, and so let's talk about that. That's VUSD. So that is now has a definite schedule. So the airdrop for that starts on August 11th, which is Sunday at 10 a.m. PST, 5 p.m. UTC. At that time, collector credits will be paused and then subsequently deprecated. So for while that airdrop is in progress, any minting on the store will also not be available. So we are gonna pause that. We expect it shouldn't take too long, but it might take as much as 24 hours. So just heads up to everyone. We are doing something fairly complicated there, and we want to make sure we give ourselves enough time to correct any problems that occur. So just assume that the VUSD won't be completed until 24 hours. It might be completed sooner, and once we are done with it, we will definitely do an announcement in Discord. But it starts at 10 a.m. August 11th, and give us a whole 24 hours to get it done. All right. Next up is equity pools. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat some of the information we've shared in case you haven't attended a prior download, just to give you this new information. So these contracts are currently in development. When the ETA was 2 weeks, but now it's 1 week. So we expect that sometime next week, we'll have beta on these and be able to start rolling them out. And then the contracts will be deployed first, and then we'll have a UI update in Vitruveo scope for it. But basically, there are two equity pools. So there's that 39K odd vibe there. Once that's gone, and once the 20K additional we've allocated for the DEX has gone, there's really no other way for you to get vibe anymore. We're done, right? And so these equity pools are the only way you can benefit from vibe moving forward. And these are open-ended pools. So the general pool is for anybody. And what you do is you basically drop in your Vitru, you trade in your Vitru rather, or swap would be a better term. And then you are part of that equity pool. And as that equity pool of 40,000 vibe has revenue share, you get your pro rata share of it. You can claim it anytime you want. We have a similar equity pool for creators. So if you did not get in on Vibe, during this phase right now where we still have some available, then this allows creators in the future to participate in the Vibe equity, in the Vibe revenue share. It's an equity pool. So as a creator, what you would do is you would swap your Vitru in for this equity pool, and then as the equity pool had income through revenue share, you would get your pro rata share of it. So this is in perpetuity. It's available to everyone. And basically, the more people that join, the more diluted it gets. But that's the nature of it. It is sort of how should I put it? A gimme, if you will, right? For people who missed out on the vibe, we wanted to make sure that you weren't completely out of it, and so this was a good way to do it. All right, the next thing is we'll continually at every one of these downloads talk about the dormant wallets. So inactive or abandoned core NFTs are what we consider dormant wallets, and we are giving them until October 31st, 2024 to make a claim. So if you happen to have a core NFT, it doesn't matter what you have, Nexus, Maxim, Trooper, Dreamer, Benefactor, those are the types of validator, those are the type of NFTs we have. If you haven't made a claim by October 31 from one of those, we consider it abandoned. And what we are going to do is the Vitru associated with it is going to essentially be transferred to the general Vibe equity pool escrow, meaning it's not part of the pool yet, it's in a holding area. and the holder may come anytime in the future and convert from that escrow into a live entry into the pool. But if they don't, then it just sits there until some point in the future where we basically release it back to the treasury. But the earnings only accrue from the time you come and what we consider a sort of proof of life, right? That you're actually care about this wallet and are using it. The analysis is in progress. It'll be completed next week. So we wrote some scripts to go and analyze all the core NFTs and the activity, etc. And the report will be available for everyone to look at next week. All right. And now let's talk about Vortex. Mike, do you want to take this on?
Sure. So we had a really great meeting yesterday with the team over at Neon Circus. We do have a really nice outline of the game theory on how everything is being developed. We put together a production schedule, and we're hoping to have the landing page done, start literally marketing the remaining 75,000 Vortex NFTs in order for a pre-sale, which are going to give you certain advantages within the game. I don't know how much more you want me to go into.
Well, we have a reveal here. So
yeah, let's do a quick reveal.
All right, there you go.
Yeah. Woo-hoo. So, did you want to get into the background of the game, or do you want to keep that a little elusive just for the next download?
We'll keep that a little secret for right now. We'll keep that a little secret for right now. Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. But we've got we're really impressed with Neon Circus and just their level of ingenuity, and they're definitely on top of it. They have a lot of slides that they showed us in terms of the actual game development and how it's going, and we're really excited about it. The other thing is the tokenomics and the white paper. We're also working on that. So we should have, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks. We'll probably have something to share on that, possibly 3 weeks. Just depends on kind of the evolution process, but we're refining everything right now. But it's cool. It's super cool, and I'm excited just to kind of see how all this plays out. It's going to be neat, and then get ready for Warpcast and marketing.
Yeah, I am very, very excited because they have incorporated familiar gameplay into Web3. That's what excites me. It's something that a lot of people will be very familiar with, and they've made it highly extensible. I care deeply about extensibility because that's how you build an ecosystem, and this is highly extensible. And the other thing is, it gives people lots of opportunities for engagement. You pretty much have to keep coming back, not just daily, but I would say every few hours, which is exciting. You don't have to, but you can, and that's what makes it really cool and exciting. So I'm really thrilled about how the game is developing there.
I did want to say something, though. I did want to kind of put a little caveat here. This game is going to be released in phases. So the first phase is really going to be the land claim. And you were familiar kind of in the previous downloads whenever Nick launched his land claim grid, that sort of thing. It's still going to be, the first phase is still going to be the land claim and really just getting the landing page done, the white paper, the tokenomics, pre-sale. And then once phase one is done, then we're going to go into further development into phase two, where that's when we're going to enhance the graphics, kind of that three-dimensional look, and then get really, really down into the detail of really making the game experience awesome. It's not just going to be a solo player. It is going to be a multiplayer game. And that's all I'll say.
Yeah. I think next week we're going to have a lot more to report on this. So, and I believe the smart contracts are already done. So this is really, really exciting. The pace at which this is being built is pretty exciting. So that is Vortex for you. And now let's talk about Vitruveo Suite. So last week I gave you some updates on and showed you what was happening in QA. And I'm very happy to report that those features are now in production and I can demo them to you now. So the new features we have are quick filters. So there are checkboxes to quickly filter search content. We have sorting for results, so you can view the content in a variety of ways. We have hackable and shareable URLs. So, and this is something that I think creators are going to love, because I'm going to show you shortly how you can use them effectively to share your artworks. And then we also have a new stacks framework. So first, let's go take a look at what's going on there. So this is the updated search, and you'll see here that we've got a few checkboxes. So what we've done first and foremost is filter out nudity, which you have to opt into, which I think is a reasonable thing, where you have NSFW work, or have kids looking at it. You basically have to opt into it. But then you can also filter for photography, physical art, etc. So those filters work instantaneously and work quite well. So if you only want to do photographs, you can do that. You can check out there. There we go. So it works really well. I'm pleased with the results on it. And so that's the filters. And here we have the sorts. So you can sort by creator, for example. There we go. We can look at the information by creators. We can look at it by consigned date. You can look at it by price, low to high, high to low, etc. So it's and of course latest in terms of consignment. We filter out the sold artworks, except over here in our sold carousel, but you can include those if you wish. So those are the filters. Now let's talk about the hackable URLs. If you are paying attention to the URL, which I don't know how to zoom in on the URL. I don't think you can. But now these URLs are hackable. What that means is that they work directly with the choices you make here. So for example, I choose Latin American, and you can see that the URL changed. So if I copy this and share it with someone, they come right back to search, and they will be on the exact view that you saw. Now, how will this benefit curators? Well, there's a quick hack for the hackable URLs that you'll find interesting. In a lot of other platforms, there's a lot of focus on collections. And I know artists also think that way because they've been trained to think that way. But we want to make collections more organic, where maybe you add a few items to a collection, and then maybe you come back a few months later and add to that collection, etc. And maybe you have the same item in multiple collections, etc. So these are our capabilities that we want to afford to creators. And what we've done is made it so that in combination with these hackable URLs, you can do something really cool. So I have here this collections field under taxonomy, and let me go ahead and search for Dream, for example. Here we go. Okay, so there's a bunch of collections here with Dream. Let's pick Clay Dreams. So you can see here now that I have only the collection Clay Dreams. So now I can copy this URL and give it to anyone, and that's the URL for this collection. So if you're an artist, you can set up your filters to show only your artwork, only your collection, any collection you want, and grab the URL, share it however you want, and that's your collection. So you are not you don't have to create a physical collection. These are virtual and dynamic collections. You can keep adding to them. You can even add the same artwork into multiple collections. And overall, it's really, really flexible way. And it's not the only way you can present, right? For example, you can create a hackable URL with just your artwork. So you can have a creator filter and present that, and boom, all you've got is a search representation of only your artwork. So it's a really powerful way for artists to be able to share their content. Now I'll re-emphasize, as I've always done, is on Vitruveo, we don't expect artists to do their own marketing, but that doesn't mean you won't promote yourself. It doesn't mean you don't share your URLs on social media, etc., just for exposure, right? That's different from hardcore marketing in trying to get sales, etc. It's just self-promotion. You want to keep doing that. You always do that. And these URLs help you in that regard quite a bit. So I'm really excited about these features. And there's a few more coming out, which we'll talk about when we are ready for them. But that is it on the hackable URL feature. And now we want to talk about another cool thing, which is our Stacks framework. So Stacks is our gateway to affiliate marketing. As I was mentioning earlier, we don't expect artists, creators to do marketing. We are working on building up a network of affiliates who will do the marketing for you. And that's going to take some time. But once it gets rolling, it's going to be a flywheel effect. It grows and grows and very rapidly. And the more it grows, the more it gets other people to become affiliates, and therefore increases the footprint. All right, so how will Stacks work here? So basically you use Vitru search to create an artwork bundle, and then you choose a visual representation. We intend to have lots of these visual representation, very much like WordPress plugins. I wouldn't be surprised if, as we enable developer SDKs, etc., that we have hundreds, if not thousands, of these visual representations. Right now, we are starting off with building 4 of them. 2 of them are ready for you, and I'm be demonstrating at least one of them here. The key to affiliate marketing is the markup fee. So we consider the affiliate sort of as a curator. They curate these stacks, and they initially get paid a fixed fee of 10% markup, which is paid by the buyer. And later on, it'll be customizable. The idea behind affiliates is very simple. Affiliates have a niche audience, and what we want to do is target a curated stack of artwork to that niche audience. So maybe you have a niche audience that is surfers or whatever. So you have artwork about surfing then, or whatever. The topics are infinite, and the types of audiences are also infinite. And when the buyer clicks on your stack, a sale is made. You earn the markup fee. We are going to add a cool feature where a buyer can buy an entire stack, and that might be lots and lots of artworks with one click. So that is going to be something amazing also. And the only requirement we have for being an affiliate is an email address. So we'll track your payments, etc., with just your email address. So let's look at how stacks work. I'm really excited about this feature. So what we do with stacks is you pick some artworks. So I'm gonna change my filter here a little bit. I guess it's fine. We'll leave it there. So you enable curation by clicking this checkbox on the top right. So I've enabled that now. It's this one here. And I have 0 selected at the moment. I'm gonna select one artwork here. Let's go to another page and select a couple more. All right, let's select Golden Stride here, and maybe this one here. Let's continue to select one more. I like this one. Let's go there. All right. Next, you click on the selected ones, and a new feature we have added is the ability for you to drag and drop and rearrange them, so you can have the perfect arrangement. That is really cool. And now you can hit Publish Stack. So when you hit Publish Stack, you have the option. This is a new framework we're talking about. It's highly extensible. So we're going to keep adding tabs here for all the different visualizations we're going to support. So I'm going to call this one Demo. And you've seen me do video before, but Grid is the new one, which we haven't done yet. So I'll choose that one. And what Grid does is really create one image that you can instantly share on Twitter, Insta, Facebook, wherever you want to share it. So let's hit Publish here, and it's going to create our grid. And then you hit Share, and you choose. You can download the image, you can copy it to your clipboard, or you can hit X, and boom, your tweet is ready. And when you hit Post, the preview will be displayed. So that is the new Stacks feature. Really, really exciting. You can create stacks in grids up to 16 images each. So you could possibly put your whole collection, if it's up to 16, in one image and share it. So really excited about that feature, and really excited that we can start making the entry into affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing is the gateway for us. You're going to see a lot of emphasis from me, from Mike, from Pam, in pretty much all our conversations where we talk about these marketing channels, because we have promised you as creators that you don't have to do marketing. The platform does it. By platform, we mean affiliates. That's what we mean. So our focus is on growing the affiliate network. And as that grows, they do the marketing and promotion for you, and they get paid their fee, which is a markup, in order to provide that service. So it's an opportunity for everybody to make some money, and in the process, promote art. So really, really exciting. All right. So next up, let's talk about Creator Score. So we started the conversation about this last week, and we made some good progress on it. We had hoped to make lots of progress, but it turns out that this is a complicated topic, and it's going to require a bit of both research and detailed algorithmic work in order to develop. So what are we doing here? Well, we are very much interested in creating a high quality experience for discovering and buying art. Everything we are doing is around making it granular and making people have choices around that. Now, what we've found is that, as you saw in search here, a pool of all artworks together is not exactly conducive to a good browsing experience, a good discovery experience. This could well be the works of someone with 20 years of experience right next to someone who just started yesterday, right? So that is not the ideal experience. And what we want to do is we want to make it so we can categorize the artworks a little bit based upon the depth and breadth of experience an artist has. So we're calling this Creator Score for now. A better name is forthcoming. But what it is an objective score that allows every app in the ecosystem to categorize creators. That's what we are trying to do. And by proxy, their artworks. So what we do is we are going to calculate that using signals that are fair and impartial. So we will include many factors in the scoring of it, which is creator KYC, years of experience, sales, exhibitions, etc. Now, some of this information is available on-chain, so it's easy. It's trivial for us to grab, smart contract information about how many sales you've had on Ethereum or on Tezos or excuse me, on Solana. But there's a lot of information that is available off-chain, like the exhibitions you've had, or maybe any galleries you've been featured in, or news articles, things like that. So how do we make those factor into the scoring? Well, we have a method to do that is decentralized and crowdsourced. So we'll be talking about that a little later. But our emphasis initially will be on creator KYC and the on-chain signals to contribute to the score. I won't commit to it yet, but we are likely going to have 4 categories for the creators. So when we present the model to you next week, we'll go into more detail around that. But we are focused on making sure that this experience is amazing and good and benefits both creators and art appreciators, art buyers, art collectors, and everybody. So the intent is really to improve the user experience for everybody and not make it and everything is just in one big bucket. Mike, you've spoken quite eloquently at times about the need for this, so I'd love for you to elaborate a bit more.
Yeah, one thing that we have to be careful about with the marketplace or with the with search is that we have to be careful that search doesn't turn into a flea market where we have just so much different types of artwork, so many different quality of artwork, and different prices. Because what ends up happening is anytime you take like a $5 piece of art next to a $1,000 piece of art, it actually ruins both of them. The $5 artist, maybe who's just getting started or what have you, theirs looks just super cheap next to the $1,000 and doesn't really show value. The $1,000 looks expensive next to the $5,000 and it looks overpriced. But anytime you take $1,000 worth of art, and categorize them together, let's say in a premium section, it looks like there's value because it's grouped with other, top tiered artists as well as top tier pricing. And those that are starting out, it's kind of grouped together where it doesn't look cheap. It actually looks like a very, very good value for what you're getting. So that's the original, concept. We don't want to commoditize our marketplace. We really want there to be clear distinctions, between artists. However, we don't want to go in and, block people, and we want everybody to participate in our service. We want everybody to be able to upload art. We don't want to have to block anybody. And we certainly don't want to get in the business of judging art. That's another thing that we really don't want to do. So it's a very delicate thing. Whereas if you're a gallery in traditional, art sales, a gallery is just going to be very particular in how they curate and who they represent. They're not just going to take anybody and put them on the walls. They're definitely going to be more specific. They have high leases. They have brick and mortar stores. They've really got to make sure that the artwork is going to sell and that it's selling at a certain price point. With our model, we represent a lot of different types of artists, and it's important that we also have 3 or 4 different types of art buyers. We have investors, we have collectors, we have galleries, we have a lot of different types of art buyers as well, and each of them are coming to Vitruveo for a specific need. And we need to kind of create a great selling experience and a great buying experience for each of those different art buyers. If a gallery client comes to Vitruveo and they see some artwork that really isn't of professional grade, they're going to be turned off. So we need to be able to funnel them to the right channels, and that's kind of the goal. That doesn't mean that an upcoming artist is not good or their art isn't pretty or anything like that. The absolute contrary. But we do want to make sure that we're classifying artists and even being a part of their journey, where all artists are constantly reinventing themselves. As a photographer, I'm constantly reinventing myself every year. I want to kind of get out of the same molds that I've been stuck in, and then start pushing the boundaries and trying new things. And I think over time, you just become a better and better artist. And hopefully the sale price of your art is increasing as well, if you're in touch with what art buyers are buying. So that's kind of the original idea behind the store. We've actually, Nick and I have been talking about a few different models that we think are really going to work. We just have to fine tune them from a smart contract standpoint. There is some complexity there on how we're going to do this. But I feel like we've got the right idea, and it allows establishing artists to really develop their price point pretty rapidly. But what we don't want is a situation where people that are regularly selling their artwork for, let's say, $40 on OpenSea, now coming to Vitruveo, selling it for $500. And because we have a plethora of art buyers right now with the credits, and we just don't want to crash in 6 months where people are getting used to selling their artwork for $500 and loving Vitruveo, and then all of a sudden the credits run out, and then we're going to see a crash in our system, and we don't want that. So we're really trying to be delicate and be very strategic on how we release things to make sure that there's just a steady increase in demand from art buyers, as well as beautiful artwork from our creators. So that's kind of the goal.
Yeah, I think a top question that will be on most people's minds is, how are we going to get off-chain data on-chain? And that's where, this is another point of innovation for us. There's a lot of things we are doing in the innovation department. And this is where we are working on creating a generic system. I'm just going to give you the highlights here, and we'll demo the details, etc., and how that works a little later. But in order to really understand that, you have to go Google the term verifiable credentials. it's a standard, and by now you should expect that everything we do is standards based. So verifiable credentials is a W3C, which is the Worldwide Web Consortium that makes all the standards for the web standard. And verifiable credentials is essentially the ability for you to verify claims made by someone, in very loose terms. So the system is one where anyone can make a particular claim, but that claim can be verified. So the way we are going to develop verifiable claims, credentials, and their claims as an input signal for creator score is we're going to allow any creator to make any claim they want. So you can claim that you had sales of $1 trillion last year. You can do that if you want to. The key is that won't be verified unless there are others in the ecosystem who are willing to essentially approve that claim and validate that claim. The way we will make that system work is that for every claim that's out there, you as a creator and us in concert with you will provide a bounty of Vitru. And people can go research the facts. And if they agree with the facts, they can approve the fact and earn a bounty. Now, that opens up the door for scammers, right? Well, what we will do is in that scoring, if your rating is not in agreement with the others, then your reputation suffers. Your reputation goes down, and therefore your ability to earn or even be included in making or validating claims in the future goes down. So essentially what we are talking about is a bounty-based claim verification system that is crowdsourced. And the quality of it will be very high because you lose your reputation and your ability to participate if you lie or scam or cheat or verify something that is not in fact the truth. So that doesn't mean we will have 100% success rate. I assume that we will be somewhere in the high 90% success rate. And over time, the folks with higher reputations will be able to earn more money and also provide a valuable service to the ecosystem in validating claims. So if I, as a creator, say that I was in an exhibition in 2015 and here's the link for it, well, it doesn't take much time to go Google that, to visit that link and check if it's fraudulent or if it's real. And if it's real, you're putting your reputation on the line by saying, yep, this is true, and you earn some money. But if it's in fact not true and is false, your reputation takes a hit, you don't make any money, and that claim does not get validated. So that is the system we are building to enable creator score at scale. Now, obviously, you will realize right away that this does not have to be limited to creator scores at all. This can be applicable to any kind of fact-finding narrative, right? And so, yes, it will be generic, but what we'll do is we'll make it into silos. So anyone can come and deploy their own mini fact-finding sort of website and say, okay, this website is for, I don't know, people making claims about their business experience. So if they have lied on their resume or something like that, you can crowdsource and figure it out. Because if you are the regional manager for Radio Shack, it's kind of hard to verify that right now, but you could crowd verify it. And that is what we are trying to build. It is a new concept. So obviously we'll go through some alphas and betas and all that. So our emphasis on creator score initially will be on on-chain data, but we definitely want to take advantage of the fact that we are onboarding hopefully thousands of artists who are not yet on Web3. So what about their experience? What about their degrees or exhibitions, etc.? We can't just leave them with 0 scores. And so we want to make sure that they have the ability to be able to have their experience factored in and on-chain. And once that's on-chain, it's forever. So your claim then is verifiable, it's on-chain, and is objective. So that's kind of where we are headed. And that's about where I'll leave it on that topic, because we are still in the process of fleshing out the model, but that's the high level play on that. All right. Next up, something really, really exciting. Let's see what that is. An artist meetup. So I happen to be in Mumbai, in Bombay at the moment. And I make it a point that when I'm in any city for a little, over a week, generally, I try and have a creator, an artist meetup just to, get to know people, ask questions about what they're doing, what challenges they face. In fact, a lot of what we've built for creators right now is because I've done many, many, many of these all over the world, where I just sit down with artists and ask them questions and listen to what they say. And I'm very pleased that this coming week, we will have the Bollywood Bohemians episode 1 on August 15th. And I invite everyone who is here in Mumbai or who can make it here to Mumbai to join us. There is an RSVP link. It's a simple form you need to fill out. It's vitru.xyz/Mumbai, or at that QR code. I hope that if you are in the vicinity, that you will attend. I'd love to meet with you. I'd love to hear your thoughts about Vitruveo, about what we are building, what challenges you face, and how we can create a pathway to sustainable income for you. I know a lot of my the artists in my collection are from India and from the Mumbai area. So I hope to see you there. It should be a really fun event. So and then just to give you a heads up, from here I'll be headed to DC briefly and then to Toronto. So we'll probably do a meetup in Toronto also, working on that. And if you are in Toronto or in that vicinity, the week of I think it'll be starting the 20th is when I'll be there, and would love to catch up with you. I know there's a lot of artists in our community in Toronto also, so looking forward to that. But Bollywood Bohemians scheduled for August 15th. Looking forward to meeting all of you. All right, and that brings us to the end of the topic. The topics we have. Of course, there's going to be tons of questions, and we can go over those. I'm going to leave this up on the screen here, so we can look at that while we look at questions. Looks like you got some starred ones, Mike.
Yep.
Let's see what we got here. All right, let's go in order here. So Crypto Bassman asks, do we get extra Vitru for the time we already staked? Can you interpret that question, Mike?
Yes. So what he's asking for is, let's say that they staked for 180 days, but they've only been in for 90 days. Does that mean that they get nothing, or do they get a little incentive? And then I think that you and I talked about the possibility of doing some sort of partial incentive. I don't know if you and I have finalized that, but I think the quick answer is yes. There will be some sort of partial incentive for the time period that you have staked. We've determined that it can't really be wallet specific, just because the coding gets very complicated. So we're probably going to do something that's fair and reasonable, where everybody can receive some additional incentives for the time that they have staked. And then at that point, you can obviously stake for Vibe. But I think we just have to clarify that, Nick and I.
Yep, we'll do that by the end of the weekend. We'll have that. All right, I'm actually providing liquidity. Do I need to do something else to participate in the new Vibe benefit? No, you don't. So the on-chain data is all we are looking at. So we can analyze that and look at that. So you don't need to take any more actions. If you would like to, you can provide more liquidity. Are we still doing Vortex to Vibe airdrops? Yes. So part of the schedule was disrupted due to travel, and also due to some high priority items in the ecosystem that needed my attention. So I couldn't exactly do some airdrops, but it is our intent to continue with those. Although I must confess, the Vibe is in short supply, so there's not as much left for marketing. So we'll probably do more Vortex airdrops than Vibe, but we will still do a couple at least of Vibe airdrops.
Yeah.
How do you calculate airdrop points to Vitru and then to Vibe? We are not factoring in airdrop points in this DEX rewards. I think that's what this is referring to. Yeah, we are not factoring in any airdrop points there. We are working on building an open system for the airdrop, so any app in the ecosystem can wire in directly to the airdrop model. But that's on the list. It hasn't been activated yet. I understand the need for liquidity, but for 500 you get 75 vibe. Isn't that a bit high compared to other staking offers, or is the vibe only yours for the time the liquidity is provided? A vibe model is always, once you get it, you get it. It's never taken back. Now 500, you only get 75. All right, so let's look at the ways in which you can acquire vibe right now, right? So for locked and for staked, it's 150 Vitru for swapping. So sorry, for staking, and for swapping it was what, 20, right? So that's approximately $20 per. I think 75 vibe for 500. Can you do the math there real quick, Mike? What is that?
Sorry. Okay, I got my calculator.
500 divided by 75
is 6.66.
Yeah, so it's much cheaper than what you would do if you were swapping, right? And also,
yeah, it's half the cost of buying well, actually way more than that, probably 3 times discounted over buying a Vortex for Vibe.
Yeah, because that's $25. So so I think this is a very good deal. Do you foresee concerns by VCs that the Treasury will have such a small amount of the revenue income compared to the rest of the investors and stakeholders in Vibe? This is a really great question. Thank you, Robert, for asking it. So you have to recognize that the main asset that the Treasury has is Vitru. So to the extent that we are able to get Vibe in the hands of the ecosystem, what it does is it creates motivation for everyone to work towards generating more revenue. Guess what happens when we generate more revenue? The overall value of the entire protocol goes up. And when that happens, the value of Vitru goes up. And so what we have in the Treasury, therefore, is more valuable. So I don't believe that it is any concern that we have less a revenue share, because our focal point is the price of Vitru. We want to make sure that it is healthy and growing over time, because that means that we've got the cash reserves we need to deploy additional projects, to grow and scale the blockchain in different ways, and really use that capital wisely. Also remember that we are projecting a 5x rebasing over 5 to 7 years, right? So whatever assets we have in the Treasury, and we are getting a lot of them back as people swap and things like that. So those are all assets that are available to the blockchain over time to use as capital for whatever projects are needed. So I'm pretty confident that the reduced supply of Vibe is not going to adversely impact how people perceive our business.
No, you have to remember too that these are just 2 verticals, technically in our blockchain, 2 projects basically. You have Vortex and you have, the art sales. So there's going to be so many projects and so many verticals that are going to be adding on. This is just the beginning. We have to start somewhere. And yeah, but the VCs are going to be well aware of how much stronger the blockchain is now relative to where it was, let's say, a year ago or 5 months ago when we were originally pitching VCs. We're in a completely different place. And we've expanded on the core product line and the value propositions quite a bit. So things are actually looking really, really good. I think once we get the volume up, we get Vortex up and going, we get SEX listing, we're going to be in a really good position.
All right. We asked, does anyone know if the RSS feeds are available for search yet? I haven't seen anything, but wanted to start messing around with the feature. So RSS feeds are going to be a first-class citizen on all our platforms. They are not quite there yet. We've built the framework for it, but we haven't refined it yet. We haven't designed it the way it fully needs to be designed for consumption. So I would say that after we've completed the 2 pending stacks, we'll focus on RSS because we look at that also as a delivery channel and get that solidified. It does work right now, so you can use any RSS reader and consume the feed, but it's not as customizable as I would like it. It doesn't have all the properties and attributes that I would like to add. So, but it does work. It needs some love still, and so we'll get there to that. Sandy says, what about KYC? Our artworks are stuck since last month. Yeah, so this is probably a common complaint from a lot of folks who are sort of in the blocked sort of artist or blocked artwork kind of mode. So I think I saw Pam comment in the list there that we are making an effort to go through chronologically and clear that backlog. I will commit to us accelerating that as much as possible, but we don't have a huge team, and I apologize for the delay in that. We will try and clear that backlog off completely as quickly as possible, and really the introduction of Creator Score will help that a little bit. Now, previously we went and we implemented auto consignment to solve a backlog issue. I think we might do something creative here also with that. And it might well be that we use Reputation or other systems like that to get the community to help us clear that backlog. So we'll work on that. It is a manual effort because of the fact that we had a lot of bad actors abuse the system early on, and so we had to put those checks in place. And unfortunately, some artists are caught in that. And I empathize with you, and I'm going to make a commitment to get them resolved as quickly as possible. Yeah, I think this is the same one there, so I'll skip it. LB says, for the airdrop partial stake, is it going to be prorated with however many more coins they've gained so far with the staking? Will it show that extra amount in the staking chart tomorrow? Yeah, that's a good question. So this, as Mike was saying earlier, we still have to figure it out. In the contract, in the original contract, the APR number was calculated for the whole period of time and added on. So if we are going to do anything partial, what we would have to do is get a sense of which block number we are talking about, how much we are talking about, and do an APR calculation on chain. And those are a bit expensive. When I say expensive, I mean in terms of gas and also in terms of accuracy, because when you're doing when you're doing an APR calculation, it involves an exponent math to simplify things, and it just gets complicated and it's difficult to get accurate. So we'll make a best effort on it. That's all I can commit to right now. We recognize that you don't want to lose the stake reward that you've earned to that period. So there might be some rounding there. That's what we might end up doing, because at the end of the day, you have to have multiples of 150 in order to be able to stake, because that's the minimum for one vibe. So we'll taking that 150 into account and working a little bit on the rounding might help us deal with the exponent issue. And
we might be able to we might just be able to add once we do the 150 calculation, add a 5% or 10% Vitru towards the reward. But like I said before, we're going to have to figure that out.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Another question from me is, will artists have the ability to publish their work to their own websites to offer for sale? Yes. So the goal with these stacks and with RSS and the upcoming Vitru store is to provide you with many different options in which you can publish your work on multiple channels. So one of them will be a widget. It's a simple widget that you can add onto any website that supports embedding. So most CMS's content management systems offer you the ability to add a set of HTML tags anywhere. And so we would have a widget that would then be embedded on your web page, any web page, and it'll appear like it's part of your page, but it is in fact served through Vitruveo servers. And you can, the hackable search, everything we're doing, gradually you will see how it all comes together. These bits and pieces fit together really well. The hackable URLs are a very important part of embeddable artworks, because what we want to do is give you an embed widget where you put a URL and say, okay, I want these search results in there, and whatever that URL is, and boom, you've got a subset of your artworks available as a widget on a random website that people can click on and sell and buy rather. So yeah, we're getting there. Is one buy per $10 wrap Vitru buy active now? No, but it is not yet active. It will be as soon as we get that feature going on the decks. So we'll have some formal announcements on that next week. I like this idea because it does matter your value when you have many sales exhibitions and all. I'm presuming Southern Fried, you're referring to offline and our strategy for that. But yeah, I mean, we want to make sure that we have a comprehensive picture of a creator. If you're going to provide a creator score, then it needs to be authentic. It can be, otherwise we would call it on-chain creator score or something like that, right? We want it to be comprehensive. How will you measure offline sales or past history of clients? Yeah, so that's the system I described, using the claims mechanism and the reputation crowd-based system with payments and bounties in order to validate those. Will buyer know on the front page of search what's creator score mean? Creator score is not something we intend to even surface as far as buyers are concerned. What buyers will see is categories of artists. That's it. So how we categorize them is not their concern, but it will be accurate, and that's it. So a creator score is something that is for the creator and for the platform. It's not for anyone else. Mike, you want to add anything to that?
No, I saw that comment or that question earlier on, and you answered it perfectly. It's not going to be a public score. It's really going to be pretty simple and intuitive. So I think you answered it.
Can it not be part of KYC, showed evidence live or submit a doc, images, etc.?
Oh, I see what they're saying. They're saying as part of the KYC process, can they submit or upload supporting evidence to have it reviewed rather than it just be completely automated?
Oh, KYC is not completely automated. You are part of it. In fact, there are multiple levels of KYC. There is email, there's mobile number, there's proof of address, there's proof of liveness that ensures that you're not a bot. And then there is government ID verification also. So you can choose what level you want to do. And that is actually going to factor into your creator score. So for example, if someone only has an email, then they are probably going to be on the lower end of the spectrum in terms of creator score, because we don't know anything about them. But when we know, when someone's done a proof of liveness, we know they're not a bot. And so they would be given an appropriate higher score for that component of the creator KYC. Now, understand that the creator score has many different components, and what we are doing is we are creating a weighted model. So some things are more important than others. So creator KYC is more important than, for example, I don't know, newspaper reports about your artwork or something like that. So it's weighted, and that weighing is important because it helps us give a nuanced creator score that can have lots of different dimensions, but at the end of it, it comes up with one score. one way to think about this is to think about it like your credit score. Think about all the signals that go into your credit score, right? And you have one number that is an industry standard, and it varies in different parts of the world, but ultimately it's about your responsibility in handling money, right? So we change that equation and say, okay, what is your experience in the world of art? And can we put an objective measure to it? And that's what we are trying to do. I'm going on the record here and saying that it will be imperfect to start off with. It is an experiment, and we will evolve that experiment very rapidly and get to where it's good and better, and then hopefully close to perfection over time. But we have to start somewhere. We have a need for this system. The ecosystem has a need for this system. The protocol certainly has a need for it. And so we're going to build it and we're going to deploy it. Any alpha on the new plan to get more protocols building on chain? Also, what is the climate for talks with significant partnerships? Mike, you want to fill that a little bit?
Yeah. So there are talks right now with 2 different projects right now that we're looking to bring on chain, possibly 3. These talks can take a little bit of time, and we're obviously trying to get our 2 core products launched, as well as raise an additional 1 million over the next, probably 60 days is going to be our goal. So once we get the store and search kind of dialed in, we get the onboarding fixed, we get the Vortex game launched, I think that's when we're really going to start going after a lot more projects and bringing them on. And but we have to really start with our core products, develop those out, work out the bugs, and then we literally just are fixing bugs off, for the protocol this past week, and there's certain upgrades that we have to do, to explore, as well as the decks. So we've got a few things that we've got to tackle first before we start bringing in other projects to build on chain. But we're already kind of planting those seeds and building those relationships and starting those conversations, so that when we're ready and when they're ready, it'll be a nice seamless transition.
Dex Screener, I think you can update on that also.
Yeah, Dex Tools, Dex Screener. We have an existing application that has been pending for a while. Support is not the best, so we've been kind of hounding them. I know that we've actually gone, Adrian, the other core lead, he's been working behind the scenes on getting some traction on that. Just know that it's on one of our top lists to try to get some traction on that. But it's like pulling teeth, so it's super annoying. That's all I can say. But yeah, we're on top of it.
I can add some color to it. I think a lot of people who don't pay attention to the details are going to say, oh yeah, it's super simple to get on Dex Tools or whatever. Yes, it is if you have an existing token on an existing chain. But when you're trying to add a new chain and then tokens on that chain, you have to go through basically developer integration, their developer integration team. And that raises the bar to stratospheric limits, because why? There's a huge backlog of chains that are already in the waiting list to be integrated. And each one involves their developers figuring out what is the RPC story, how do we integrate, how do we query, things like that. So getting a chain onboarded there is a non-trivial task. Now, for certain services, they lump all EVMs as one and make it super simple. So Third Web is an example. We are fully on Third Web. First-class citizen. We can integrate. We are in there with the developer tools and all that. Why? Because they just look at chain list, and we are on chain list, and they refer to that. I wish more of these services would do that. If they would just refer to chain list, it would be a piece of cake. But unfortunately, they don't, and we have to go through a manual integration process. What will happen to locked Vitru? Are we getting them in November, or is it better to change them to Vibe as well? Well, locked Vitru is available on a monthly basis to you as it gets vested. So you can go into scope, into core NFTs, and as your vesting is done, you can hit claim and get them into your wallet. You don't have to wait until November. But if you want to convert all of it into Vibe right now, then you would go into scope, into the stake page, and go ahead and stake it all, even though it's not fully vested. You can do that. So what I'm talking about is this page here. So you can go into here and say, it's going to tell you what your balance of locked Vitru is. In my case, is 65, and you need 150 minimum to be able to stake, but you need 20 for each Vibe to swap. So in my case, I can probably get 3 because I can swap 60 here, and it tells me I get 3 Vibe. So that's how that works. But you don't have to get Vibe. You can just claim those and hang on to them. Is the DEX buys rewards also grandfathered in, or does it start from here on? So we'll probably grandfather it in a little bit. I'm not quite sure what that date would be. It would be one of these two. It would be either August 1, or it would be the time of the listing, the pair being created on the DEX. So Mike and I will discuss that and determine what is the fairest way to go about it. I'm inclined to go with the time that we started the listing. That means that people who did it out of the goodness of their heart for the ecosystem benefit from it also. And it hasn't been that long, so I don't know. But Mike and I will talk about that, and we'll finalize that. If it isn't that date, it'll probably be August 1. That's what we'll grandfather it into. But we have a fixed quota of 20K Vibe, so we have to make sure that we make a decision based upon usage of that also. When the time you stake your Vitru is elapsed, does the Vitru go straight to your wallet, or is there a way to claim it? Yes. So that's about in the case of a Vibe staking here, etc. At minimum, that's 1 year out for a lot of people. And so what's going to happen is that form you were just seeing is going to go away, because there's no more reason to actually stake there, because the Vibe will have been exhausted. And what this will switch over to is your report on what you have staked, and when it's available to unstake, you can hit claim, and it will be transferred to your wallet. On blockchain, it is unlike Web 2. You cannot do anything in an asynchronous manner. You always have to initiate a transaction in order to change any information on the blockchain. And that's why we have a claim feature, very much like we have here in the Vibe screen, where you can hit claim to claim any unclaimed Vitru. So you would have the same thing, where you would have basically unstaked Vitru available, and you can hit claim and bring it to your wallet. How do we unstake from the airdrop stake? So right now there is not a UI button for that, but it's easy enough to go to the Explorer. So what you can do is go into scope, go into smart contracts, and there is, let's see. Oh, wait, we need to add that contract here. We will add that contract here. You'll be able to click and go to it, and there is a button for unstake there. So we'll do that. We'll also try and get that app updated. It is on our to-do list to get that app updated, so you can unstake directly from there. Will there be an affiliate program for anyone who wants to onboard artists? A program, yes, potentially for larger organizations, but most people who want to be an affiliate can just be an affiliate by using the variety of marketing channels we are going to be providing, stacks being the first one, where you can curate a stack and start immediately promoting it and make money as an affiliate. The next thing that's coming up is Vitru Store, where as an affiliate, you can create a store, a virtual store, create a markup on there, and earn money. So there's no registration on anything required anyone can be an affiliate just by using their email address, and that's it. Now, for larger entities, we will probably have a formal partner program where we will have things like levels and benefits and things like that. But anyone in general can be an affiliate with an email address. What about those of us who are still waiting to get our Vibe airdrop from purchasing Vortex? Good news, 95% of that was already done. There was errors on a few of them, which we will remedy, but those are already done. So you should see the Vibe in your wallets as of right now. I'm still confused about the idea of Vitru staking for points, which was called airdrop. But I had no idea when the airdrop would happen. Yeah, so we're going to keep the airdrop going until at least the end of the year. And we're going to introduce more programs and more ways to get points in there. So I apologize that we have not given it as much marketing love as it should, but that's going to change in the coming weeks and months, where we definitely want to make airdrop a first-class citizen. We are actually going to tie it into Vortex, etc. So some of your activities in Vortex, some of your activities in Studio, in Vitru Search, etc., all tie back to airdrop points. And then by the end of the year, we will have phase 1 of airdrop rewards, because we intend to keep it continuing and not just end there. Mystique says, what about art that has been published in a book, things like that, and featured in a film or podcast? Yeah, any claim that is made in the real world, whether it's a book or a movie or a radio broadcast or whatever, if you have a link, then that provides people who are validating it a way to start validating it. And of course, they will do their own Google searches, etc., to further research and validate the claim. But I think the bare minimum for any offline thing is a link that someone can look at, whether it's a picture, a PDF, a website, a video, an MP3 file, whatever it might be. So as long as you can provide some kind of link, it allows people to validate that. And if people can validate it and you get enough people validating, it becomes a claim that becomes yours, and you earn the creator score associated with that. If all goes well, what happens to Vibe after 5 years? Vibe is yours forever. It doesn't change. The Vitru that you've staked comes right back to you. You can claim it. It doesn't automatically come to you. You can claim it, and that's what happens. So Vibe is yours forever. I think that's about it. And I'm kind of running out of steam a little bit because it's getting close. Well, it's past midnight here. For me, I've been up for quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to call it here, if you guys didn't have your questions answered, just reach out to us on Discord, and then we're more than happy to continue the conversation. But I think you've gone through about 40 questions. So it's been good. It's been really good.
Yeah. All right, great. Well, if you're at Mumbai, I hope to see you this week on the 15th. Do stop by. It's going to be fun. And everybody, thanks so much for joining us on the DAOnload. It is our way of communicating all the details that we have to the community, and also getting feedback. If you've noticed a pattern by now, we'll announce something. It'll be kind of vague. It'll be high level. We want to get your questions and your feedback. We flush it out some more. We present it again. We start implementing it. Then we show a beta of it. We refine it more, and then we have in production. That's basically the life cycle of most things around here. And so that feedback loop is really important to us. And that's why in these downloads, we take the opportunity to present to you half-baked ideas, ideas that immediately generate 10,000 questions, but we don't have all the answers, because we wanted to give you the opportunity to ask those questions. And hearing those questions gives us the ability to refine and develop the idea in a way that makes sense for our community, because we are not building this for another community. We are building it for our community. And so be sure to give us feedback on things. Your feedback, we are listening. We may not always reply, but we are definitely listening, and your feedback gets incorporated in everything we do. So once again, thanks everybody. Appreciate all of you, and thanks Mike for joining me and helping answer a lot of these questions. And we'll catch you online, and we'll definitely catch you here in a week's time. So see you. Dream on and dream big.
Okay, bye guys. Take care.